And now, the star of the show, Jordan Rogozinski.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Jordan 411 Sports Show. And today we're going to talk about CFL free agency that happened on February 13th and a bit about the Winnipeg Jets. I would like to welcome Michael to the show and Jeremy to the show.
Thank you for having us. Apparently, we did a good enough job to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my first topic is Brady Oliveira. It was pretty amazing that day that he was signed. All signs pointed to that he was leaving, and he was left for dead. I, I know Michael didn't think he was leaving, but that's what the media said at least. So I was pretty happy. And on the same day, we got Dalton Schoen done. So I just call Kyle Walters the genius from now on. So,
Yeah, Jordan,
Michael,
I think it's very interesting that Kyle Walters was able to not only get Brady Oliveira, but Dalton Schoen. Um, because to be honest, I think a lot of us in Winnipeg were so fixated on the fact that it was one of the two. And I think was a little too quick to, I guess, make the summation that both wasn't possible. Um, but again, it's just amazing. I think it speaks to the culture that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers um, wanted to put in. Um, Obviously, you lose Jamarcus Hardwick. I think he came at the expense of both of these guys. I'm not too thrilled about Jamarcus Hardwick going to Saskatchewan, but at the price point, you can't blame him. Still one of the highest paid old linemen in the CFL. Not sure I agree with that mathematics. I think it also comes at the expense of Rasheed Bailey as well, who goes to Toronto. But you know what? You need to surround yourself with core guys. And the Bombers clearly think that they can find a replacement for Jamarcus Hardwick who can play the same way and cheaper. And then they have some receivers who I think can take a big step to replace Rasheed Bailey. And I think you got two offensive stalwarts back in the lineup. Number 1, number 20, Brady Oliveira, most importantly, and then Dalton Schoen, who it sounds like Zach Klaus was a big part in making sure that Schoen was able to come back. So you win some, you lose some, the way this Bomber team is set up, for sure. But you know what? You gotta keep the core together, build around the core. Personally, I don't expect a bit of a drop off as people are expecting from the Blue Bombers. I think this is just ho hum um back to where we've been the last number of years.
and Jeremy, your thoughts?
Yep. I was shocked that they both signed that day. I was like, and for that amount of money too. Like, I mean, it was rumored that Dalton Schoen wanted 300,000, and I think they kind of swooed him with the team culture and winning, and how successful their offense has been with him. And glad they got him at that price point, 230,000. I mean, getting those two guys really solidifies this offense as remaining a number one offense in the CFL. Yeah, they got some question marks on the 1-0 line spot with Jamarcus Hardrick gone. I don't blame Jamarcus Hardrick for leaving. I mean, that kind of money. I mean, he's late in his career. I mean, I hated Saskatchewan. I mean, I always say I don't mind if they leave anywhere but Saskatchewan. But I mean, you got to chase the money. He is older, so you know, he he deserves to get paid. I mean, there's no way we are going to be able to match that. I knew he was gone right away. Um, Rasheed Bailey, like there's only so much money to go around. I mean, we have to start getting younger too a little bit. We have to get some younger guys and start kind of transitioning into the next phase, But we still have our core guys there. You still have Dembski, Lawler. I almost said Bailey, but no. Wawatarski, Schoen, Oliveira. I think we'll be okay. And I'm excited to see how Jordan Younger does as the defensive coordinator and Mike Miller.
And let's be clear too. It's not about 2024 here coming up. I think you gotta look at how do we put ourselves in position for a large portion of this to be sort of our last chance next year when we host the Grey Cup. I think, to be honest, it's a 2-year tie over to try to get the sort of the stalwarts that you see this year and next year. Then you kind of flip that core over even more. And yes, I'm actually referring to Zach Collaros. I don't see him as part of the plan after next year. I think you have to look at, a different quarterback. But again, hypothetical, 1 year at a time. So that's been proven to be really healthy in his time in Winnipeg. I think he's only missed like 2 games. One of them to injury, and then to kind of sit him out because there's nothing to play for. The only thing I am not too sure about with the Demarcus Hardwick is Zach Collaros' blind side.
Yeah.
So whoever kind of steps into that position has to be very mindful of that. I know they recently signed an offensive lineman who spent time with the Riders, who was on the Bomber practice roster for a number of years. So I just think it's going to be an open competition for that one spot. Also seeing them get younger a bit on defense. Also pretty much in the right spot. But again, we get Nick Howard back and Noah Howard back, and there's one individual who tried the NFL who's also coming back, Tyrell Ford. So you know what? It's not all doom and gloom, and people are saying.
Well, Jeff, we'll move on to Jackson Jeffcoat.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. If we're gonna get Michael back, he froze at the moment. His face is funny how it froze, but
use this as a thumbnail.
Yeah. But yeah, Jackson Jeffcoat. I mean, it was time. I mean, he missed. He only. I think he missed like what was it, 10 games a year in the last 3 years or 4 years. He only played like. I can't remember what it was. What did he only play? Wasn't it like? Yeah, I think it was like 8 or 10 games in the last 3 or 4 years. Like he's injury prone. I mean, he's very productive when he's on the field. He's a difference maker. But I mean, again, there's only so much money to go around. And I mean, Celestin Haba is a younger, cheaper replacement. And I mean, we saw him a little bit last year. He did very well replacing Jackson Jeffcoat.
Well, Jeff, we're on our own.
I will say this though. I'll miss Jackson Jeffcoat. I mean, I'll miss all these guys that leave, but you know what? I mean, nothing lasts forever in pro sports.
Yeah. We're on our own. Michael's internet went out, so.
Okay, what's the next topic?
The next one is Barbie, aka
AJ Ouellette.
AJ Ouellette, going to the Riders.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of saw that one coming because, you know, you got the old Corey Mace, defensive coordinator of Toronto Argonauts of last year. Now he's the head coach in Saskatchewan, so you kind of figured, I mean, they would mix, but I'm shocked Toronto let him walk. I mean, Toronto lost a lot of players to free agency.
Yes, they did.
I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be the same as last year, but who knows? Uh, yeah, no. I again, right? Like Saskatchewan loaded up. They spent money. Well, I mean, they had to because they haven't been that good the last couple years. So you know their attendance have been bad, and I mean it's you know you have to have a good product on the field to get good attendance. And I mean, I hate to say it, I know they're a rival, but we need Saskatchewan to be filling their stadium, right?
Yeah.
We need us. Winnipeg and Saskatchewan are, you know, the big franchises in the CFL. We need them to be filling their stadium. And, you know, them getting AJ Ouellette, Jamarcus Hardrick, it might make them a more competitive team. And in turn, I think that's better for the whole CFL.
And Michael has returned.
Yeah, boys, it's the wonder of technology. It happens when the Wi-Fi cuts out every now and then.
Now, Jeremy, can you talk about AJ Ouellette going to the Saskatchewan Roughriders?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of saw it coming this whole time. Um, you know, you have Coach Corey Mace. He was the Toronto defensive coordinator last year, and I mean, you kind of figured that former team. Well, I'm sure everyone liked Corey Mace. He seems like a pretty standout guy. So, you know, if you know what the guy is like already, I mean, obviously he's gonna poach some guys from his old team. So, I mean, yeah, it's good for them. You know, we'll see how it works out. I mean, he's a good running back. The Riders have definitely made some improvements.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be good for the CFL to have the Riders competitive again. You know, have the stadium full, hopefully, and you know, it's good for everybody if they're competitive, even though we're rivalries. But and yeah, what about you, Michael?
Yeah, I think even going back to the Jamarcus Hardrich situation, and I'm going to kind of come back to tie the two together. Hardrich seems to be a culture shifter, which is something that needs to happen in Regina. Ouellette is also a culture shifter. So, and you look at who the head coach is, Corey Mace, former Rider DC. Not exactly a surprise, but people need to remember here, folks. The Riders will probably not have a good record this year, but it will be better than what they've had in past years. If you look at how long it took the Bombers to come out of that really, really bad sort of downturn, it took a while. But it started with getting pieces in place like Stanley Bryant, Shea Thomas, etc., etc. Now look at what you got. Not saying the Riders will not be a playoff team this year, but I think to expect the last to first, last to Grey Cup, a little bit too much to ask. There's still a lot of questions about the roster, but they did a good job of bringing in culture shifters.
Yes, they did, and I don't wish them well against us, obviously, but I wish them well for the league. Now we're gonna talk about Tim White, Hamilton Tiger Cats receiver, and the reason why I wanted to bring this up, it was reported that he wanted 300K and he got 250, and he took a stance on it, and he kind of folded because he wanted to return to Saskatchewan, to Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about that?
You want to take this one, Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, you hear all kinds of rumors and the numbers, and no one really knows. I mean, except the player and their agent. But I think he's the highest paid receiver in the league, is he not? I think 250. Yeah, maybe.
He
Yeah,
will be up there.
he's up there.
Yeah.
Um, I was shocked he got more than Dalton Schoen. I mean, he's good, but you know, but yeah, I mean, it's good for him. He likes Hamilton. I mean, it's good for Hamilton. He's a good receiver in the league, and he's fun to watch, and good for Hamilton.
There simply comes down to you can't keep everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Kyle Walters always says there it's a cap, it's a salary cap world. You're constricted. You can't. There's only so much money to go around. Oh.
And the Bombers did sign Sergio Castillo recently. So what do you guys think about that?
Poor guy. 2 thumbs up here. As the thumbs up guy comes
That's
on
true.
Jeremy's side of the screen. um, yeah, no, I mean, this is exactly what you need. Let's be clear. Kicking was not the reason the Bombers lost the Grey Cup last year. I think by and large, if you look at this as an 18-game project, to get to the playoffs, number one, to get to the playoffs, number one, everybody needs a kicker. And Sergio's as reliable as they come. End of story.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we suffered with Legio for that 1 year, so I mean, we saw how it was having a unreliable kicker. You're kind of looking away. You're like, you don't know if he's gonna make it. You're just so nervous. With Sergio, he's gonna make it. You're confident. You're like, yeah, it's in. 50 yards out. Yeah, it's in. And then that music comes on, and you're like, hallelujah.
And then I did the other thing. He significantly extends field goal range,
Yep.
right? Like
Yeah.
you can get to the 40-yard line
And kick.
where a lot of guys, it's like, okay, is he going to have a chance to make this?
Yeah.
You have a 7 out of 10 chance with Sergio
Yeah.
from a 50-yard line
Yeah.
or from a 50-yard kick inward to about the 40.
Yeah.
Yep.
That he's going to make it. And the other thing, the reason the Bombers had so much success in 19 when their offense wasn't clicking is they had a kicker in Justin Medlock that you could rely on. Once you got to the 40-yard line, you could close your eyes and suggest that you had 3 points. And that's a very comforting thing for an offense. And I think with Mark Leggio, they didn't have that. And with Sergio Castillo, when he came back, they had that.
Yeah. I mean, even in 21, remember the Grey Cup? I mean, how many kicks? He kicked, what, 5 or 6? Like that, you need that, right?
Yeah.
Especially now, you start at the 40-yard line if a lot of times. Sometimes even further with how they move kickoff back. I mean, you get to the 40, you should be guaranteed 3.
Yeah. And where do you guys think Lucky Whitehead will end up? Do you think he will play this year? Do you think he'll be on a team, or who knows?
Can I take this one first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of players out there wanting a lot of money that's not out there.
Yeah.
I think there's unreasonable expectations on what a salary could be. Look at Tim White as an example. He seemingly held out for a lot of money, wanted to be, maybe rightly so, one of the highest paid receivers in the CFL. The money finally was there, but it's like free agency. You think there's a lot of money out there in the NHL until you get to the market, and well, nothing there. Maybe the grass isn't always greener.
Yep. I remember Coloris saying that at his year-end presser last year. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. But yeah, I mean, a lot of guys get signed right before training camp starts because they're just desperate. They'll take a lower close to minimum deal, right? Because they just want to play. So I mean, there's been a couple years where the Bombers sign a guy close to training camp, and he's an impact guy. I mean, I don't know if he'll get signed. I mean, I hope so. He's a good guy, but I mean, like Michael said, how much money is there to go around, right?
Now we're gonna talk about the boys on the ice, the Winnipeg Jets. First of all, the game against Carolina was awesome. Probably a candidate for game of the year as a fan, not as a coach. I'm sure you hate that game as a coach, but as a fan, it was a pretty good game. What were your initial thoughts of Saturday game, Michael?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, Jordan?
What was your initial thoughts of the Winnipeg Jets game on Saturday?
Yeah, you know what? It was pretty interesting. You know, when you look at things from a perspective, I mean, I guess we should go back a little bit and talk about Sean Monahan and talk about, what he's done. I saw I can't remember where I saw this, but from a certain time period, he is up with the Winnipeg Jets leading scorers. I think since the day he was acquired, with the team lead, he's up to 7 now with the Winnipeg Jets. And this was prior, I think, to last night's game where he got number 8 as a Winnipeg Jet. Can we talk about what the kid has done to the power play?
Yeah.
Like when you have a natural guy in the bumper position, the power play is night and day better.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I know, eh? And there was some people that were like, "Oh, Sean Monahan." They were doubting him, and I knew that we were getting a good player because I remember him in Calgary. He was wicked in Calgary.
Yeah. And so
he's
far,
been a very good addition, a nice needed addition. It's nice when he comes in and he's having success right away. That's always nice. It doesn't take him a while to get going, and I mean, it took him 4 games in the beginning, but doesn't feel like that because he scored in almost every game now. But and even defensively, like he's so good and like battling for the puck and effort and his bat. He's not the fastest guy, but he's good at like stick checking, poke checking, and his face-offs are unbelievable. The amount of face-offs he wins. Our face-offs are better ever since we acquired Sean Monahan now.
Yeah.
So it's like he inspired the rest of our centers to do better. He probably taught them some tricks.
Yeah.
For sure. And then if you want to talk about the weekend, I told you guys the story when we started recording. But what happened in that Carolina game? That game had Mark Scheifele's footprints all over it. Just seeing that third period and the skill that it took to and the skill that it took to do that, like every goal in that comeback in the Carolina game was required a different set of skills that weren't necessarily there last year.
Yeah.
They paid the price, if you will, to come back and win that game. And I think it's a very contagious thing and a very scary thing. When now all of a sudden the team has found a belief, if you want to factor in the Buffalo game as well on the weekend.
Yeah.
That's 9 goals, boys, in the last 2 third periods. You just say, oh, you're waiting till the last minute, right? But scoring late in the game, very, very important.
Yep. Yep. And it's just like the effort, right? The effort level this year is 10 times last year, right? Like Morrissey, like that play in the Carolina game that he makes to Shifley, that second effort, right? To go in the middle and push the puck to Shifley so that he's in alone down low, right? Like that's what it's going to take in the playoffs, right? So it's just the effort, the guys are trying, right? Where last year you kind of, there was a couple guys where just, it wasn't good last year. But this year, a complete 180. That I'll tell you, the Carolina game, me, my dad, and Jordan were watching. We shut it off after the second period. We were so frustrated. We're like, what the heck is going on here? And then my friend texting me, he's like, it's 3-2. Then I look, I saw a tweet tie game. Then a couple minutes later, I saw 4-3. I'm like, oh my God, no way. And then we turned it on quick, and oh my God, it was wild. And then the Buffalo game, down 2-1 heading into the third. I knew we were gonna pull it out. I just knew we were gonna find a way. I mean, that goal that Morrissey scored, I mean, that was a hell of a play by him to jump in there, and Vlad Nestikov finding Shifley, and Shifley finding him down low. And I mean, yeah, it's a squeaky goal, probably one that shouldn't have went in. But you know what? When you do the right thing, play the right way, good things will happen.
Yes.
You'll get the bounces, you'll get the puck luck.
Yes. I'm happy that we're just competitive down the stretch. That there's not gonna be a slump that everybody thought.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's nice. We're fighting. We're playing very well. We're in the top 5 of the NHL. Who the heck would have expected that? We could win the President's Trophy. I saw this morning on Twitter, but I don't want to win that because that's a curse.
That's a curse.
But even to win the Central Division would be nice because then we get a wild card spot, right? But
wild card team in the first round.
Wild card team. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, win first in the Central, get a wild card team in the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Just there's so much fun to watch compared to last year. Like it's unbelievable.
I love going to games live. I love watching them on TV. I hope more people go to games and support the guys down the stretch.
Oh, for sure. Like we have one of the best teams in the NHL, There shouldn't be 2,000 empty seats every game. And like this is the year, this is the time where you spend even one game, go to one game. You spend a little bit, I know it's expensive, but like just support the team,
Yeah.
Like playoffs, that building better be full. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Now let's go to, I guess, Nikolai Ehlers, sort of getting demoted.
Yeah, all the uproar on Twitter about Nikolai Ehlers and should be on the top line. And I mean, yeah, it worked, but I mean, I don't know. Apparently, he made some kind of backhand pass in the defensive zone or offensive zone, and it got picked off or something, and that's why he was demoted. I don't know.
Let's talk. If you want to talk about Nikolai Ehlers, those 2 goals in Chicago.
Yeah, single-handedly.
Says everything you need to know about the kid's skill.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I have a hot take.
Yeah.
And we don't have a half an hour to discuss this because we're almost done.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling we'll be back next week with another show where we can hash this out more.
Yep.
I think for the Winnipeg Jets to get where they need to go, they need to trade one of Gabriel Velarde or Kyle Connor.
Yep.
You're reading.
I wouldn't be upset if Kyle Connor left. I wouldn't be upset.
Because I looked at the metrics of that Velarde, Scheifele, Connor line, not good. When Connor missed all that time with injury, and now that Velarde's out, I don't think it's an accident, but that team clicks a little bit better.
Yeah.
And now you get Vladdy Nemestikov some more ice at 5-on-5.
Yeah.
And look at the player he's become.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a thought here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it always seems like Nikolai Ehlers is like the fall guy. He's always, if he does one thing wrong, he gets demoted. Meanwhile, you have Kyle Connor, like sometimes he doesn't back check. He makes soft plays in the defensive zone and you know, he makes these middle of the ice passes in the offensive zone that get picked off and nothing happens to him. Like it's like some guys aren't held to the same standard. Like I thought Bonus preaches accountability, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that could be behind the scenes stuff too.
We don't know. People are speculating that Scheifele doesn't like to play with Ehlers because he's too unpredictable. But then again, I mean, they're good as a line.
But why did Monahan and Ehlers work so well as my counterpoint?
Because Monahan said that Ehlers reminds him of playing with Johnny Gaudreau.
Okay, so you're comparing Nikolai Ehlers to Johnny Gaudreau.
That's what Monahan said.
That's what he said.
That's what Monahan said.
Yeah.
It's interesting, right?
Because Ehlers is very unpredictable. And Gaudreau was like that too. So Monahan's used to that unpredictability.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing. And I hate to pour cold water on this.
Yeah.
Is Monahan, Ehlers, whoever on that second line, really that good? Or is a lot of their points on the power play?
Yeah.
People are saying, that second line's putting up points.
Nah.
Well, I'm sure of which on the power play.
I mean, yeah, they haven't produced a lot. I mean, Ehlers and Scheifele have produced more at 5-on-5 than they have together. So,
bottom line, though, the Jets are defensively, metrically improved a lot better.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But another thing is apparently Ehlers is supposed to play on the side that Kyle Connor plays on because he's more comfortable on that wing. But Bonus won't move Connor and down, and Ehlers doesn't play well on the other wing. So he gets demoted, like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just something about Connor. I don't know. Like, yeah, he scored goals, but I'm so hard on him all the time. I'm just like, oh my God. Like, sometimes he doesn't back check. He's just gliding out there. Like, Ehlers yesterday, when he was on the top line, it was good. It was awesome. They generated chances. Ehlers was back.
It was also, too,
goal.
it was that Carolina game, which I had the pleasure of watching back, and it was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
You can start to kind of see them put it together in the last two shifts of the second period.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, boys, I think we're out of time for this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, folks, it was fun having Michael and Jeremy on again. We'll
Yeah.
be on again soon. And thanks for watching, folks. Bye bye.